You sometimes feel frustrated when you're trying to set a limit with your partner or any other person. You maybe follow the formulas that people talk about iMessages, and somehow it just doesn't seem to work. So I'm going to talk today about 3 mistakes that people make when they are trying to set a limit. And the first one is not coming from a place of love, what I call the aware, loving heart, or what some others call the wise adult self. In other words, the way that you try to set that limit, if it's coming from a place of angst or a place of upset, if it's not seeing the other person as being a wonderful person, it just the behavior is something that you're not okay with, then it's going to go awry. I mean, there's a big, here's the difference between, I hate it when you talk to me like that, or versus, I'm not okay being called a slob. So the subtext on that is to be as specific as possible. If you make things too generic, then it's not going to be accepted, or they're going to be places of arguing. I do treat you with respect. Okay, so the second mistake is referring to an unearned connection. So here's the thing, is that if there's this issue between the two of you, and especially if the other person is coming at you with some energy, then in that moment, there's no us. And so anything that you say that implies that there is when there isn't in that moment is bound to go awry. So, saying things like, "Oh, let's talk about this another time," or "Let's talk about this amicably." Do you hear the "let's" in there? And so, if you're on the other side of this and you're not in a loving place about that, there is no "let's." There is no "we." We ought to do this. No. Instead, stick to I. Only I. No you, no we, no us. And the third mistake, which is in a way kind of related to this, is that many times we try to set a limit or a boundary when the other person is not open to receive it. As I often say, communication is sending a message and receiving a message. And if one of those doesn't happen, there's no communication. So you can send the most amazing, loving, firm limit. And if the other person isn't open to hearing it because they're still in a state of emotion, then you're wasting your breath. So be sure to set the limit at a time when they are open to receiving it. And how can they be open to receiving it? Well, that's what tracking is all about. That's what gentle challenges, gentle probes are all about as they set the stage for setting a clear limit. So make sure that your limit comes from a place of love. Make sure that there is a sense of we, and choose to speak for yourself, because when you're setting a limit, it's about you. It's not about we or us or anything. And finally, make sure that it happens at a time when the other person is open to receiving it.